My name is Teemu Kautonen. I'm an associate professor of entrepreneurship at the Aalto University School of Business in Helsinki, Finland. The motivation behind the paper is the grand challenge of population aging in most developed countries that most developed countries are facing. And many governments have been thinking about ways to extend working careers as a way of managing aging populations. And promoting late career entrepreneurship has emerged as one way of doing that. It is attractive for many reasons, one of them being that we know from research that self-employed individuals tend to retire later than their employed counterparts. So if we assume for the time being that late career entrepreneurship is good for society, we started asking, what about the individual? So what happens to the people who actually make the transition to entrepreneurship in later career? What do they get out of that career move? Could it be that late career entrepreneurship is good for society, but not so good for the individual? So we set out to examine that by looking into what happens to individuals who make the switch to entrepreneurship in late career in terms of their level of income on the one hand and their overall quality of life on the other hand. The research was an analysis of a dataset called the English Longitudinal Study of Aging. We used 5 biennial waves of the data, so covering about 10 years, and we organized the data in a way that all the participants at the baseline were always in full-time employment, and then we examined what happened to them over the next 2 years. In particular, we compared individuals who made the switch to entrepreneurship with those who stayed in their original jobs and those that switched to another organizational job. We used a technique called propensity score matching, which essentially mimics randomized controlled trials. So for instance, for each and every individual who made a switch to entrepreneurship, we used the algorithm to find a virtually identical person who did not make the switch. And this allowed us basically to compare apples with apples and oranges with oranges, and thus reliably understand what the effect of the career transition was on the outcome variables of income and quality of life. And what we found was that the greatest increase in quality of life was experienced by people who switched to entrepreneurship. That increase was actually significantly greater than the increase experienced by people who switched to another organizational job. At the same time, the new entrepreneurs on average experienced a significant decrease in their level of income. I think the slightly surprising finding was the decrease in level of income. Well, surprising on the one hand, maybe not so surprising on the other, because the usual thinking behind late career entrepreneurship is that it's a bridge type of employment. So like it's about the phased withdrawal from full-time employment towards retirement. So you would expect income to decrease. But then again, we actually found that the greatest increases in quality of life were experienced by people who simultaneously increased their number of working hours. So it doesn't seem to be about phased withdrawal as much. Some of our additional analysis suggested actually that the main benefit that individuals draw from late career entrepreneurship is enhanced opportunities for self-realization. So they would pursue that at the cost of losing some income. The results suggest that promoting late career entrepreneurship should be socially sustainable because people seem to be on average better off in terms of their quality of life. On the other hand, they also suggest that maybe governments should move from models of aging that where thinking is along the lines of passive aging, retirement, towards models of active aging where people actually pursue dreams even in their late careers. The next steps would be to dig deeper into the non-monetary benefits that people draw from switching to entrepreneurship in late careers. So the finding that I mentioned earlier about self-realization being one of the main benefits, it would be interesting to know what exactly people do, what sort of goals, dreams they pursue, whether they start the businesses based on hobbies, based on their main career, or do something completely different. So where does that self-realization actually come from? Where do the benefits come from? What drives people? We now have results to strongly suggest that it's something else than money. But then again, in entrepreneurship it often is. But is there something specific for late career individuals, what they pursue, why at this stage of their careers? So get more detail behind that more general quantitative result.